10 tips every e-commerce product manager needs to know to succeed. 3 product league mentors, 1 league, and yours truly, Moriya Kassis. We're starting right now. Please welcome Alexander Reizer, Head of Product Vision Insurance at GlassesUSA.com and Product League Mentor. Joining us live from Germany, Rene Abou El Alla, Principal at Involved and Product League Mentor. Please shout out a big hello to Lisa Murkin from United Kingdom, Senior Product Manager at Elsewhere and Product League Mentor. What's up? So excited to have you here with us today.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello. Hello to Alexander. Hello to Renee. And hello to Lisa. I am so excited to have you here with us today. You guys are here as product league mentors to share your best tips for e-commerce product management done right. We are going to answer the questions that the guys here, the audience, will submit wherever it is that they watch us now online, LinkedIn, YouTube, or Facebook. Go ahead, guys, everyone in the audience, let us know who you are, where you're from. What is your biggest question when we are talking about e-commerce product management? It's not every day that you have 3 product league mentors to answer all the questions you have. Now, this is a 10 tips session all about e-commerce. Guys, I'm so eager to learn from you. I know that I'm myself going to learn so much from you, Lisa, Renee, and Alex. So thank you so much for the opportunity. We are starting right now with 1 tip that I'm going to share myself because this one is an interesting one. When we are talking about e-commerce, one of the craziest things about e-commerce is that you have to shift your strategy so rapidly. So many things are involved. There is seasonality, there is inventory optimization, marketing campaigns, peak shopping periods, consumer demands, everything can change every day. So you have to be agile and you have to adopt strategy on day one, a strategy that allow you to shift things correctly, and you have to do it in a different way than any other domain. This is e-commerce 101. This was my tip. And Alex, I know you've got 3 of your own to share. Are you ready?
I'm ready, Moriya. Thank you very much. So, here's my first tip. Prioritize customer lifetime value over short-term metrics, right? Uh, Having a longer lifetime value-oriented outlook helped me a lot. Inspecting every action, every behavior, right? Sometimes you get a quick win in the short term, right? But I really want to create highly memorable experiences that keep our customers coming back if the frequency is a bit lower. So look at everything you do through lifetime value. That's my first tip. My second tip is to conduct weekly customer interviews to complement quantitative data. With e-commerce at scale, forgetting to talk to our thousands and millions of B2C customers, right? It's impossible. So we rely on data a lot. However, if you talk to a couple of customers every week, it keeps you grounded and it keeps you connected to the actual people. Not everything is just about the numbers. So that's my second tip. Couple of interviews a week at least. And my third and final tip is to optimize the post-purchase experiences. We all know that the end of an experience and the highlight of the experience is what our customers keep in their memory. So things like order tracking, things like transaction email, things like even return merchandise, right? They should be great, polished, because that may be the last touch point that the customer will have with you for a while. Make sure those things that may be an afterthought remain in the positive view of your customers. Those are my 3 tips. Thank you very much.
I love what you just shared because I think, to summarize your last point, if you don't make the purchase correctly, like the experience behind it correctly from A to Z, this will be the last time that you're going to meet the the customer, right? So if you want to have a next time, the last part, the
Touch
last
point, yeah.
Exactly. And the experience has to be correct. Love that. Thank you so much, Alex. Brilliant tips. And Lisa Morgan, we are eager to learn from you. Are you ready?
Thanks, Moriya. I'm looking forward to it. My first tip is to use AI to analyze customer reviews for actionable insights. So building on what Alex was saying about importance of listening to customers, they give us customer feedback every day on the App Store or Trustpilot or other Google reviews. And if you just add them to ChatGPT or other AI tools, you can immediately get some high-level trends or insights really quickly. So that would be my first tip. The second tip would be to ensure that the team understands both the digital and physical product lines. So it's not just about how you can get a customer from the start to the end of the website. You need to understand what you're selling. How do you communicate the value of the physical product or the software you're selling if you don't understand it? Like what makes them purchase that? And then especially the difference between like any standard or premium ranges or upsells, such as, you know, premium paper finishes or expedited delivery or gift wraps. You really need to understand the applicability to the different use cases. So that would be my second tip. And my third area would be to create a shared dashboard linking digital and physical product performance. Because it's important not just to have the metrics for conversion rates or things like that. You need to understand how that fits into the bigger picture. So, for example, like what are the revenue goals? Because it's great to have the highest conversion rate on mugs, but then if the highest value product is something different, it's not that relevant. So you need to see how it all fits together. You can't just have, I'm only focusing on the digital metrics. You need to collaborate with the commercial teams on the other teams on the physical aspects as well. So
Yeah, you know, the second point you were mentioning is so important. Like if I look at Alex's product, right, if he's selling glasses, so if you don't have some functionality that allows you to see the glasses on yourself like you are in a physical store, for me, you're missing out one of the core features on the platform, which is very bound to the glasses specifics. So you have to somehow really see the specifics in your product and have to put something there that refers to that specific one.
Exactly, and it all links to that point Alex was also making about that post-purchase experience. How do you maximize your chances of the customer being happy with the end product? And you can't communicate that properly unless you've really seen it or communicate it as best you can digitally.
And exemplifying Lisa's point, I make it a habit to purchase our glasses and a lot of types of them to try them on, right? So every new thing that comes out, I want to try it on. I want to make sure I see it. I want to make sure that I never forget, by the way, what it feels like to receive a faulty frame, right? So that's very important. I'm not ashamed if something isn't. So absolutely spot on. Yeah, digital, physical. Our company even has an in-company walls of glasses like you would see at an online store, like at a physical store for us, for all of the employees, and they're constantly refreshed with new collection. So spot on with that tip, Lisa.
I love this group of people. Great mentors we have. Thank you so much, Lisa and Renee and Alex, for adding your thoughts here. Renee, are you ready?
Yep. So tip number one, guess what? Metrics. So, you know, I've been in so many different e-commerce companies, and what you often see is there in Germany we have a saying, you cannot see the forest within the trees, something like this. So, and most of the time conversion is the ultra KPI you use in the e-commerce. But what I learned is that you need to have some more from different other areas that you use to control actually your decision process, and you monitor persistently. You can measure more, but you need to have a small set of KPIs where you say, okay, here is sale or its margin or its revenue or its conversion, whatever, NPS, lifetime value, whatever you choose, it has to fit to your business model, right? And I would always use a set of core KPIs to control your business and the decision-making process. So how boring again, another KPI stuff, but when it comes to e-commerce, it's important. So it's a practical tip I experienced actually in a lot of companies right now because of the change from Google Analytics to GA4 or GTM to GA4. this change led to the fact that it's really hard to measure the actual conversion funnel from somebody coming in at a specific touch point and how this customer runs through your funnel. Because GA4 is event driven, and if somebody comes in just at the PDP, for example, so the product detail page, it is measured into that conversion funnel. So we had a hard time to really see, okay, a customer that comes in from a Google ad or from a newsletter, how this customer runs through the funnel to see where the customer drops off. Because for me, it's the holy grail. It's the conversion funnel from home to purchase, and I need to see exactly where the customers drop off and then find out why.
I think it's also really important when you have a product journey that's split into multiple teams. So you might have a pre-checkout team and a checkout team. That if you don't have that end-to-end journey, it's easy to just pass the bomb to the other team. So you optimize your journey, but then, you know, for example, guest checkout is a classic one. You make it super easy for people to check out and get through, but then it makes things so much harder for the customer support team or other teams when they haven't got as much information, or for the retention. So it's all about that. How do you work as one ecosystem, and not just, well, my team's happy, my metrics have improved, that you have to collaborate. And without the data to support that, it's much harder to explain the impact or lack of impact on other teams.
The best is to give them even different goals. No, sorry, I'm sarcastic here. But for my third tip, it seemed that Lisa read it, because from my experience, you need to set some fundamental decisions upfront and then potentially test them, because there are some really fundamental parameters, and I give you some examples. So you want to make it hard to order as a guest or not. It's, for me, a fundamental decision in your sales funnel, right? Because you make it easy, you don't get customer data, you don't get the accounts, you potentially not get the marketing permission, blah, blah, blah. So you have to make a decision once. Either you make it hard as a guest purchase, or you want to make it easier as a regular account customer. So you can have both ways on it. So second is make it hard to return or not. Yeah. So I still see a lot of companies who make it really hard to return something. It's complicated, or you just go into your order, select the items, a reason, send, and you get the slip to return. So also this for me is a fundamental decision. And third example is, how do you want your customers to find what they're looking for? So quick question maybe to the team here. What do you guess on Amazon? What is the percentage on how many customers use the navigation to find something, and how many customers in percentage use the search? What do you guess?
I would guess search would be predominant on the
like 90-10.
Yes, even much more. It's 98-2. Yeah. So and this is why you have to really think about, okay, how I want my customers to enter the journey on the shop and to make it easy to find what they want. Of course, depends on the business model. If it's a marketplace, I think it's obvious that it's search. But what about if you are a more singular fashion store, or something like this? So these are 3 examples for some fundamental core decisions where you have to think about when you start the journey.
Renee, absolutely great tips. And by the way, like I'm managing more of a B2B product, which is absolutely closed with login, and you get a trade-off because you don't allow guests to purchase, whereas another more commercial product allows guest checkout but encourages. And like you said, for us, the filter, right, the navigation is the primary tool, because people just want to find a frame that fits them, like the one that you wear fits your face. So they don't have like an idea in mind where they can search for, a great looking frame for me, right? They start filtering down the shape, etc. So that's absolutely precise. And like you said, a lot of people don't stick to a certain strategy, but you have to be willing to ride it off to see the payout. Like, you have to make a strategic decision and not just flip-flop back and forth, because looking back a year or two, that's how long it may take for you to actually see the effect of such fundamental choices. So that's a great tip.
Yes.
Yeah, I think the other aspect, as you sort of touched upon, making those decisions and sticking to it, because it's not just about what you choose to support, it's also what you choose not to support. Because then if Amazon have 98% of their customers going via the search, it means they don't need to have a team spending a lot of time optimizing the navigation. They don't have a set of engineering having complex feature flags. So the more you can simplify the product, makes things simpler to maintain from an engineering perspective. And they're also easier for a customer. Like if they know they've just go down one journey, they don't have this decision paralysis when they land on the website. Oh, shall I look at the search? Shall I go to the navigation? Should I just click on the homepage? The more you can just guide customers through the primary journey, it just makes it's a win-win all round, really.
Yeah, which is also then resulting in UX design principles and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to say. That also on design aspect of stuff, you know that you have a screen to utilize, especially when we're talking about mobile, which is a big part of what we do in e-commerce. And all of a sudden you understand that you can utilize the space in a different way because you are following the way that users actually use your product and not the way you intended for them to use it. So I love this fact. Thank you so much, Renee. I love everything that you guys mentioned, and it's spot on. Now, these were the 10 tips that we shared now with the audience, but we're not stopping here because first of all, we invite everyone in the audience to submit the questions. Guys, please go ahead. You know how the algorithm works. So please click like, share, send it to your boss, this video for them to watch as well. And make sure to submit your comment. Tell us who you are, where you're from, and what is your biggest question, wonder, challenge, whatever it is that you choose when it comes to e-commerce product management. And now, guys, I have a question to ask you. As you probably know, last week we had another session of 10 tips. That session was for fintech product managers. Next week, we're going to have the same one, but for healthcare. Now, I'm going to steal a question that was submitted last week. I'm going to ask you guys. Imagine you are now hiring someone for your team, a product manager at whatever level or title that you would like. And this person is talented, but they have no e-commerce product management experience. Now, let's say Renee and Lisa, you need these people for a specific challenge or project that you are working on. Alex, you are hiring this person for your team. How can this person show you that they are the right person for the job, although they don't have actual e-commerce experience? Because as we see here, there are different challenges to tackle when we're talking about e-commerce. Go ahead, guys.
Well, if I may start, I think it's the same for every area. To see how a person thinks, they don't need to have a prior experience in your industry. A good product manager does the sometimes counterintuitive thing and actually thinks about the problem first instead of suggesting a solution. That's a hurdle we have to overcome. So if a person actually dives into the problem and tries to think about the problems like from literally first principles because they don't know anything about your industry, that's what you want to see. And here's a very simple thing, right? People don't often actually look things up when you ask them a question. Why wouldn't you? You do it on your day-to-day job. I shock people by saying, well, you can just Google what I asked you right now and give me an answer. And let's try to think about this together. People are like, yeah, can I do that? You wouldn't work otherwise. Why would you answer a question just from your mind? So again, it's like an inherent assumption that I have to come prepared. That's impossible. No product manager would be so egotistical, to say, well, I know everything. So that's my answer, right? Can you apply first principles thinking to analyze the problem more than suggest a solution? And can you overcome your own kind of thinking and just look things up? Just give me an answer that's like ballpark. Those are my two things.
I love that. I love this call out both for the people that are interviewing, but also to interviewers that are listening to us right now. Because as product managers, we have to leave the assumptions aside. So let's leave the assumption aside that everyone needs to know everything at every time and allow people to just Google the questions that we are asking them. I love that. Thank you so much.
It's not just Googling the questions. You can also Google the product. Like if I was applying to work at a glasses company, I would look on their website. I would try and imagine. I mean, I do wear glasses sometimes, but I would remember what I was looking at, like, or trying to imagine the problems. What are the things I think about? Do I like how it looks? Do I care about the price? What about the materials? I try and like put myself in those shoes. And a lot of the time you can buy them. Obviously, it's not always applicable for a really expensive product, or some of the B2B products. There is a bit more of a barrier to entry, but you can also show your awareness from other problems. You can say, okay, I've never been on a glasses website, but I have been on Amazon. This is my favorite thing, or this is my least favorite thing. I like this, or these are the questions I'd like to ask to understand more about that problem. So I think there is enough out there, sort of that first principles of common sense, that it shouldn't be, oh, I don't have e-commerce experience, I can't answer that, because we've all bought something online these days. There's so much relevant information out there. I think, yeah, you know more than you think.
Yeah, and again, you speaking from the top of my heart. This is the interview question I'm always using for the juniors. So I will give you the responsibility for the checkout in my product. How would you tackle this? And you can see if somebody is able, also a little bit under pressure in this interview situation, to use the common sense and to switch on the brain. Of course, I'm not expecting him or her to be an expert, but if there is a statement like, hey, I'm purchasing myself and I can tell you when I buy at here or there what I like, what I don't like, and maybe this is the way I tackle, I say, okay, this is the right attitude. Yeah, because catching up what Alex said, if there's somebody with no industry experience, 90% of your knowledge in that industry you can learn. And second, in this case, I'm always hiring more for attitude anyway. Yeah, because attitude you cannot learn. Yeah, so if you have people with the right attitude, you can give them everything and they will just tackle it. But if you have people, oh, I'm so experienced, I'm working for 15 years and we always done it like this. Okay, next. Yeah. So this is the point.
Yeah, specific experience can even be a hurdle sometimes. If a person is only willing to talk about their experience, again, how would you acquire new knowledge? So it's the beginner's mindset, right? You have to be willing to be like not the smartest person in the room, and those things are the same for any industry. In fact, I still hope to break into a new industry, in product as well one day. But so it's never, I think that's the easiest quote unquote part, because everybody has to learn the industry and the business from scratch.
And it's part of the fun.
Yeah.
If
you are really smart, you can transfer things from other industries to that specific industries, which will even maybe lead to some completely new views on certain things, right?
Exactly. I saw one of the questions in the chat was about moving from fintech. So, for example, you might work for a bank on a personalization strategy, or how do you segment different audiences? And that is so applicable to e-commerce. So this, again, as you mentioned, there's so much transferable knowledge that, again, if you think about the problem, the use cases, things aren't limited to an industry. So yeah, really just dig down into what you do know, what you can relate to, and go from there.
Absolutely.
So if you go from fintech to e-commerce, you have to free your mind from all the regulations first.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily, right? Because
kidding,
we have things like HIPAA, right? We have a lot of regulations. In fact, I won't be, but I could be speaking at the healthcare next week, because we're in healthcare e-commerce, right? We're compliant to a lot of things.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is absolutely correct, right? And by the way, one of the things that are very close to e-commerce is gaming. Funny enough, you have a cart, you pay for things, you add things to your cart. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, but the process of finding things that you want to play on, etc., it's very, very similar to category pages, product pages of gaming, one of the most popular areas, or very similar to e-commerce, though people don't treat it as much.
And the fact you're spending 90% of your time on that app while you are using your mobile. There's also this similarity there. We have Amanda joining us from San Francisco. Hello to you. We have someone from Armenia joining us. Thank you so much for joining. We have Guy from Israel, Joan from Seattle. Great questions here in the audience, and we are starting with one to you, Alexander. Jody is asking, how does B2B e-commerce work in B2C? What is different than B2C commerce? This person is in B2C commerce.
Well, for us, without driving into great details, it means that every customer is not just one customer. It means that every customer represents your B2B partner. That means that your responsibility for things like quality, making sure things work smoothly, right, is much higher. Where with B2C, every customer is a quote unquote individual battle, right? But when you're working with like B2B2C, like we do, you have to make sure that you make the partners happy and you make the end customer happy, which is a double challenge. But again, on the flip side, you need to make sure that things are up to spec and above, like of higher quality, makes things easier when you're working with engineering. So that's kind of the short answer.
And you have, of course, of course, you're a completely different customer, right? So this is industry or B2B purchases have completely different requirements. It's a different amount of order, not one glass, but 1,000 glasses. You have to provide other information, tax ID, all these kind of things for the VAT deduction. And also it's a whole different customer type with different customer data and whole different clearing processes. You have to think about payment methods completely different than the B2C part and so on. So you can do commerce, it's practically the same, but you have to tackle the different requirements that comes from
And the
business to business
funnel,
purchase.
yeah, absolutely. And the funnel will probably be different because this person won't find you on Facebook or Instagram ad.
Yeah.
And on the other hand, they don't care about the package they receive the glasses in, right? Because they receive like just a huge box with all the glasses on in, and it's different than a person, then it's ordering one or two pairs, completely
Yeah, I
different.
think also that in B2B, the end user is not always the person with the purchasing power. So then you've got to factor in those two different dynamics. Who are you targeting? The people who are buying the orders or the people who are going to be receiving the product? Ideally, a bit of both, but something to weigh in mind what that emphasis should be.
You received the gold star, Lisa. Thank you so much for this one. And we're continuing with you because Amanda is here asking you how much of your day today should be interacting with marketing efforts. So, how is it going for you, Lisa and Renee? Alex, tell us how much of my day today should be interacting with marketing efforts? Product person, marketing department, how can we avoid the clash but actually have some sort of
Yeah.
work atmosphere?
There is no clash, right? So if you
There
ask
shouldn't be, but
me,
sometimes there is.
yeah, I know,
Sometimes there is.
but
Going
the thing
back
is
to the
all,
comment about having different
yeah.
metrics not being calculated in the same
Mm.
way.
Yeah, so it's the same like with this stupid separation between business and tech, right? There is no such thing. We all work together towards one goal, and marketing is one piece of the puzzle, because normally the marketing guys are the one who gets your customers in. So you have to understand from where those customers come from, what do they need. I give you an easy example. So if you work, for example, for a fashion company, right, and you have a fashion e-commerce business, what you need to provide the marketing team, for example, is, okay, this is the look that actually at the moment is the highest seller, if the marketing team doesn't know, because you have the customer knowledge from the CRM part, for example, or the product part. So then the marketing team can use that maybe to increase their clicks on their advertising, because they use that combination in their ads, right? So, and this is one example for me, because you have to work together, because the one have to get the customers in, and you on the product side have to make sure that the customers buy. So it's the same side of the medal, right?
And one can't fail, right, without the other failing as well. So if you don't support marketing, if you don't make sure, or they don't make sure that you're aware of their efforts, you're both going to fail. That's a lesson that's quite expensive to learn, but you only need to learn it once. So I would say for us, it's a day-to-day thing, not necessarily in hours or minutes, but working hand in hand with marketing. In our area, Moriya said seasonality, everything, you have to be highly cooperative, you have to be highly flexible, and talking with marketing depending on your product almost daily. That's a recipe for success. Definitely don't be like remote and doing two different buildings, etc. Like, try to be as close to them as possible, to the point of where it's like it's another team member. And we see that trend. We see the Airbnb turning their product managers to product marketing managers, uniting their roles, trying to hint really strongly that there is no separation, to the point where we're quote unquote canceling the classic product manager. I don't know what classic is, but if you're not working with your B2B or your B2C marketing, you're not doing your job. Same as, not talking to your customers, right? So I would say as frequently as you can allow. And by the way, it's not just, collaboration, just updates, right? You're doing something, let them know, keep them informed. Always keep them informed, always ask for them to keep you informed. You don't have to do a lot. You just have to let them know, and some ideas, some insights will pop out of that if they can do something with it right now.
Yeah, it
Imagine
definitely
they are doing
happens. Sorry, go for it, Renee.
So imagine you're doing the biggest marketing campaign in the year and your product is not scaling. Then you know what's happening.
It also happens. I think it's also a two-way collaboration. Like, it shouldn't just be marketing wanting updates on their performance. Marketing can also promote features in the app. So it'll be like, oh, we've launched this new capability or this new aspect, and they could talk about that, and that could be a drawing point or a competitor advantage, such as like ease of use, things like that. So again, like, it should be a collaboration. It shouldn't be a us and them, or we're helping them out, I need to update them. It should again be that partnership.
Absolutely. Guys, may I challenge you? Yes, I'll take this a big excited yes. We have a very interesting question here in the from the audience, but we don't have time. So we are going to answer this one super quickly, super rapidly. Which metrics do you measure and why do you use that? Give example. Each one of you, please guys, choose one metric. Tell us why. It's more complicated than choosing one. And as Renee said before, it involves the whole strategy around that. But choose one, surprise the audience, let them know why is it that you are choosing this one. Go ahead, guys. Who wants to start?
I can start. Well, it depends on what the overall company OKR is, but AOV could be a great one because it's about quality of purchases and not just the easiest purchase.
Loving that. Alex,
right,
Renee.
Then I go next. Actually, I would go with the amount of purchases in a time. So how often a customers buy, beside the ones I already mentioned, because I would use this because you can see a lot. You can see loyalty, you can see what is the customer buying, and so on and so on. So I think this is an interesting one.
And I'm going to cheat and I'm going to say something that incorporates Renee's answer. One of the coolest things that we ever got to measure is something called RFM, recency frequency monitoring. Essentially, segmenting your customers by these three parameters gives you this complete picture of like how recent was their last visit. For us, it's like a yearly cycle. You don't frequently buy glasses, as Renee can attest to, right? AOV, which incorporates Lisa's answers, right? Because the monetary, right? You need to understand you have the cheaper glasses, you have the more expensive glasses, which are the segments, and finally, the frequency is what Renee said. To get with the recency, you understand how much effort you need to devote to these customers. Do you have like a very frequent segment of cheap products that comes together? So this is kind of the something that I discovered only by working at Glass USA, that we came to this RFM. Look it up. It's amazing.
Loving that. Guys, thank you so much. You three are brilliant e-commerce product manager. Thank you so much for everything that you shared with us. And this is Product League, right? Three mentors sharing their know-how with the audience. You guys are just the best. Thank you so much for joining us here today and for sharing your tips and know-how with us. Rene Abou El Alla, Alexander Reizer, and Lisa Murkin. I had the pleasure of having you on our orange floor. Can't wait to have you here again. Thank you so much, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you.